We're gonna go into Win Loy Oriental Supermarket. Let's see what they have. I have no idea what that is. I literally have never seen this before. Digestive mushrooms is a big radish, long eggplant. These are tamarind. I love tamarind candy. Pickles with a skin disorder. I don't know what this is. This. A carrot. Flying fish? What the heck? I wonder if they catch them with nets, like a butterfly net. What the? Dude, they're straight up just whole frogs. I actually really kind of do like frog legs. It's like the perfect combination between catfish and chicken. It's like a squid sausage. Wow, I don't know what that is. These are cucumbers. I don't smell anything. I'm always so intrigued by the interesting things I see when going to Asian markets. But today, I've come looking for a very specific item. Excuse me, sir. Do you guys have any Atlantic mackerel? No more. No more? Oh, I might get striped bass. Kind of cool looking. Look at him. Pick me. I just want one that has like intact fins. Also that has all its scales. Well, they're out of mackerel, so hybrid striped bass will have to do. Hello. They're not answering me. I think they might be dead. Dadgum. My hands are all gooey. I'm gonna do those, and no cleaning. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands. It looks like a giant lime. A flash hat. Sriracha. Look at all the fungus.
Fungi.
Salted fish sauce. Whoa, this is like multi-layered. Mixed fruits and beans in syrup. Salted shrimp paste has a nice sort of purple mauve color to it. Oh, dude, I totally thought he was throwing up. It looks just like he's barfing. There's no way I'm the only person who thinks that. Poor guys. Give me 5. Oh, he looks like he got a little too much sun. I don't know what that is. Hello. You know the tamarind candy? You ever had that? That's where it comes from, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm just gonna start chewing on one. Should be good. You may be wondering why I was just at the grocery store. Well, the other day I was watching this video on how to taxidermy a fish, and then it hit me. What's stopping me from attempting to taxidermy a regular old fish that you can get at the grocery store? As far as I can tell, nothing. So we're gonna give it a shoot. Also, before we start, let me preface this and say that I've never done anything like this before. So we're gonna learn how to do this together.
Hooray!
So the very first thing I need to do is make an outline drawing of the fish's silhouette. Go all the way around, just then we're gonna take a buttload of measurements all over his body. The reason I'm doing that is because later we're going to carve a foam mannequin that will fit inside the skin, so it'll be kind of like a blueprint for when I actually do carve it. Like that. The next thing to do is I'm going to skin this fish, and if you want to see that process, I will put links down in the description to videos that show it. Now what I'm currently doing is cutting a foam sheet into strips that I'll glue together in order to make a bloke that I can cut our fishy form from. Once done, it needs to dry for a couple of days. So in the meantime, now that your fish is all skinny and just skin, you see, wow, he's lost weight. It's the Ozempic fish. Anyways, all the flesh has been removed. You can see it's just nice and clean skin. Now, we're just gonna need to soak this bad boy in a solution of borax and water. I think I have about 2 gallons of water in there, so I'm gonna add about a cup of powdered borax, and then just a splash dish soap. This will help to degrease the fish, and it's also a preserving agent, keep bugs away. And while that's soaking, which it's gonna need to soak overnight, we're gonna go ahead and cut our bloke of foam. To do that, we need to cut out our pattern that we made and trace on the outline. Then frolic to the bone saw so we can cut it out. Well, that didn't work. This has literally been drying for days. It's like literally not glued at all. Excellent. All is going to plan. Ah! You turn this off. Okay, obviously the foam sheets gluing them together didn't work, and I know why I used the white Elmer's glue instead of wood glue, because in the past I've glued foam sheets together, and it has worked when I used wood glue. I'm not sure why it mattered, but it didn't work. So we're gonna try something else. Total Boat sent me this 2-part polyurethane foam. You just add equal parts and it poofs up, kind of like the Great Stuff insulation foam you get in the can. We're just gonna do it and hope it doesn't overflow the box and that my calculations are correct. Where's my stir stick? Oh, right here. This stuff reacts really fast. I literally only have about 20 seconds to mix. Oh wow, look at that. It's turning a different color already. All right, here we go. And do something. Ooh, wait, it's moving.
Definitely, yeah.
Whoa, that's cool. Do the thing. Whoa! Now it's totally doing it. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Science!
Yes, science!
Ooh, it's warm.
Oh, it's bulging on the bottom.
You're... He's a growing boy. So we'll just come back in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something and make the form. Make the mannequin. Okay, bye. Idiot. Okay, second attempt. As you can see, I'm cutting down the block of foam into a foam block of appropriate size. And now with the snap of my bobby fingers... never mind. After cutting the outline of our fish from one direction, we're going to poop it back onto the lower part that I cut off so we can whip out the top-down silhouette, which I made by taking a picture of the fish from above and printing it off. Walk by it. After tracing the outline on and cutting it out, we now have a fish-shaped blank that we can carve. Hi. We need to carve this so that all these corners are nice and rounded. Never carve towards yourself. Ever. Fish aren't just perfect ovals, they kinda come to a point at the top a little bit. So it's not gonna be just a nice perfect round, it's gonna kind of peak at the top. And I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't do this for a living, but this is what I've learned online, so I'm just parroting what they've told me. Okay, so this is the uber super simple shape at the moment. I think I'm gonna actually switch to the rasps because I think it'll give me a little more control. Once done, I'll go ahead and compare all of those measurements I took with the carved blank's dimensions. And if they all match up, then all will be going to plan. Man, this is all going to plan. Excellent. Hi, I'm Bobby Duke Arts, and I have issues. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Seemingly, every new year I start feeling super overwhelmed by my own expectations to make immediate and dramatic life changes. For example, this is literally my list of goals from 2022, which I tried to do all at once and for the most part did not achieve, which gave me tons of anxiety and kind of made me feel like a failure. But with therapy, I was able to work through those feelings and gain the tools I needed in order to actually accomplish the goals I set for myself. I, like an idiot, thought that when you became an adult, you would magically have self-discipline and motivation. Well, unfortunately, that isn't true. But fortunately, there are resources like BetterHelp, which can connect you to a therapist that can help you develop into the person you want to be. Signing up is super simple. Just fill out a questionnaire and they'll match you with a vetted and well-qualified therapist in as little as a couple of days. And if they're not the right fit, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime at no extra cost. And easily, the best feature in my opinion is BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy comfortable and convenient. So if you want to start fresh any day of the year, please click the link down in the description or you can go to betterhelp.com/BobbyDukeArts. sign up to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Okay, we've got the form carved to this point. This is gonna be my first attempt at trying to fit the skin around, and I'm certain it's not going to fit perfectly, but that's why we made it a little bit bigger so we can remove stuff. But so let's give it a shot and stick it in there, see if there's room for this.
That's what he said, right, guys?
It's crazy. It's not perfect. I think I just need to take a little bit off of kind of everywhere. I think we're pretty much there. I want to have his mouth open like that, so he looks like he's going, oh. I don't know if I mentioned what kind of clay I'm gonna be using. Crayola air dry clay. It just needs to be something that's air dry that won't shrink a lot. I think that'll do. And we're gonna push that into the areas where the form is not bulking it out as much. It's basically to bulk out and push out areas. We're also gonna put that in the cheek areas of the fish, behind where the eyeballs go. And then I also got this sign. Here's stuff we're gonna need. Paper clips, sewing needles, latex caulking, T-pins, not T-pains, but T-pins, other pins, a ruler just because it was on sale, screen. We're gonna use that for the fins later. And then something we're gonna use to make a little cradle for the fish so we can go to sleep forever. The main things we're gonna be needing are the caulk and the clay. And you're going to need a gun of the caulk variety. Oh, that's messed up. Let me get a different one. That's better. It should be ready to squish on up. Oh gosh, dadgummit. Well, yeah, so that's how that works. I know exactly what will happen if I press this trigger, so I might as well press the trigger. We need to clean this table because we don't want it dirty for our dead fish. The parchment paper will basically be a barrier, so the fish isn't gonna wanna stick to anything. Actually, but before I do that, I'm going to smoosh some clay on the form where I think it needs bulking up, like around the gills and the top of the head. Also in some strategic points on the fish, like behind the pectoral fin, the butthole and butthole fin, the base of the tail, pelvic fin, and spiny and soft dorsal fin. Next, with caulk in hand, we squirt some all over, making sure to spread it around evenly. This will act as a glue to hold everything in place when it dries. Then we wrap the foam in a cozy fish jacket, making sure to position everything the way we like it and to smoosh out all the lumps and bumps. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go get the dental floss because I forgot it, and that's what we're gonna use to sew this up. The reason I'm using dental floss is it's already waxed, strong, and it's thicker than normal thread, so it will be much less likely to tear through when I'm pulling the stitching tight. To tie it off, just push a needle about halfway in, twist a few loops around, and push it in below the surface. This will then lock it in place. Also, go ahead and pin down the skin around the head, that way it won't shrivel back. Now let's get him all cheeked up by stuffing clay into them. This is to keep them all plumped up and from sinking in when drying. Now that that's done, we're gonna create a little cradle that we can pose it in the position we want it to stay when dry. Okay, now we're gonna start carding and pinning the fins and junk. We want it to match both sides, roughly like that. Remember, I don't know what I'm doing. Get the tail in position. I want it pretty wide. I'm gonna put that there, and then I'm gonna push some pins in to kind of lock it down so it doesn't let the tail curl back up. And it's a mesh that lets the air go through so it can dry. Okay, that had it, that popped it up. Sweet. And then I'm going to put some paper clips and do it just like this, but with the plastic on the other side. And we're gonna make like a little cage for it, and then we're just gonna paper clip like that. I'm tired. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna basically make his mouth stay open, and we're gonna open his gills just a little bit. I hope there are some taxidermists watching that can laugh at me and tell me what ridiculous things I'm doing wrong. That's crazy. It looks like a fish. Oh, I'm tired. Where's my dang sign? Here it is. Where's my dang scissors? Okay, here they are. We just need to card this fin. How old are you? Show me your ID. And then we'll be done. All right, it has been drying for 3 days now, and it needs another day at least, but I'm impatient. What I'm gonna do right now is go ahead and remove all the carding, and I'm also going to seal the fins too, because tomorrow we're going to repair any tears and junk, and those also need to be sealed. Guys, I don't think Mr. Limpet made it through the night. I think he's dead. Okay, it's been 4 days. Feels pretty dry to me. Also, there's a thing you can do to test whether or not it is in fact ready and dry is you smell inside the eye socket or the mouth. It's weird. I mean, besides being gross, it doesn't smell gross. I think it's ready to go. The stuff you're gonna need for this step is coffee filters, clear acrylic latex caulking, muslin, Elmer's glue. So to get this farted, let's flip him over. And taking a small piece of muslin, I'm going to make a series of dots which will give us a rough template for the size piece we need to cut out. Then slippy slap down some of that Elmer's glue so the piece of muslin will stick to it. Then slappy slip a layer on top. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and splort some of this caulking in here. Now I'm gonna cut my coffee filters just a little bit larger than the fins that they're gonna go on, except for this fin. Now we just need to paint a thin layer of caulking on each fin and splat the filter to it. And this next part is optional, but I'm going to attempt a technique where you touch a flame to it so that when it burns away, it will leave a more realistic edge, and also so you don't have to manually trim it. Then, like with the muslin, shart a layer on top. What this is accomplishing is not only bridging the gaps of the splits and tears, but reinforcing the fins, while also making them flexible due to the latex caulk. Once done, we'll go ahead and give the other side a coat as well. Then, all we gotta do is zoom, and last but not least, a poom poom. Okay, as you can see, all the glue has dried clear. I think it's dry enough to go ahead and trim off all the paper that's around the fins that we didn't do the burn method. Carefully using a scalpel and tweezers, I cut away all the filter that's overhanging the sides. Then using some short curved scissors, I trim away the rest. To add a more realistic edge to the fin, I cut tiny little notches back and forth all the way down until it looks like this. Then I repeat that process on the other fins that I didn't use the burn method on. Like that. Now that all the fins are trimmed, we need to make a way for the fish to attach to a piece of wood, starting by cutting an aluminum rod and adding some notches in the end, which will become apparent later. Next, we need to decide the angle and location that the fish will be mounted. I then marked the location where we will drill a hole slightly larger than the aluminum rod. Like that. Mixing up some four-minute epoxy, I glop a healthy glob onto the hole so we can glue our rod into it. After a few minutes, we're now able to give Mr. Limpet the ride of his life. The rod is not only a way for us to mount it to the wood, but in the meantime, it can be inserted into a stand that will conveniently hold it while we work to rebuild parts of the fish with epoxy sculpt. I start by mixing a small portion of equal parts and smooshing it onto the split areas of the fin. One of the reasons for the backing was to provide a surface for the clay to adhere to. Once smooth, we're going to add back that texture and so that when painted, it will completely disappear. During the skinning process, I accidentally made a little hole at the base of the tail, so we're gonna go ahead and fix that too. Next, I took one of my small carving gouges and pressed in a scale texture, then knocked it back slightly so that it wasn't too extreme. I never thought I would find myself sculpting a fish's butthole, but thankfully life has a way of pleasantly surprising you. They actually have 2 holes down there that serve a multitude of functions. So 2 holes it is. Now I'm rebuilding an area called the throat latch. It shriveled quite a bit during the drying process, so bulking it up to its prior girthitude is desirable. Moving to the ventral glottum ostankis. I made that up. When the fish is hydrated, this area is actually pretty fleshy, so I'll go ahead and sculpt back those features, referring to photos I took when the fish was juicy. Same with the lips, and on my fish, I like them plumpin'. Moving to the top of the face and head, this area right in front of the eyes needs a little bit, and also on top in between the eyes. And lastly, there are these 2 spots on either side that really sink in, which will need to be filled. Basically, we're just trying to make the head have a nice smooth domed shape without any extreme low spots. You know what? Hold up. I just want to say, to the Reddit mod in r/mildly interesting that deleted my adorable post of Patrick for checks notes, removed rule 6, I just want you to know that we reached the threshold of pre-orders for the Carve Your Own Dagger kit! And because of that, it will officially be going into production. I've even started receiving samples to what's gonna be going in the kit, like this block of wood, and these hobby knives, which come with a buttload of blades and 2 knives. You're getting 2 knives for the price of 2. I've also been making sure everything is really high quality, like I literally did my best to break this knife and it held up great. And I want to thank everyone who pre-ordered from the bottom of my wooden heart, for without you this literally wouldn't have happened. To everyone else, there's still time! I'll be keeping orders open for 1 more week, so please click the description link or you can go to BobbyDukeArts.com and order yourself a kit before it's too late, and so that you can carve your own beautiful little dagger.
Hey guys. I'm dead. Wait. What happened? Why do I have clay on my face?
Anyways, the next thing you can probably guess that we need to do is we need to put his eyeballs in. And these are just commercially available striped bass eyes that I bought. I could have made them, I just didn't feel like it. And I may have done the measuring wrong because these look a little big. I measured it before he was dried. I think once they're in there, they'll look okay. But I'm not sure how I'm gonna get them in there. Anyways, we're gonna figure it out. Oh no, he's a flounder. To start the eye setting process, I trimmed away some of the fish jerky, opening up the socket to the original size. Then using a carving gouge, I cut away the outside perimeter so I won't have to force them in. Also, see how the pupil is sort of a pumpkin seed shape? That point goes forwards, towards the front of the fish. Next, I pooped in a funk of chome, then started smooshing in some epoxy clay. The foam is there just so I don't have to use as much. Then I pressed the eyes in place and added a little clay around the perimeter because fish actually have a little bit of skin that sort of encapsulates them slightly. After making sure everything is symmetrical and letting the clay cure, I decided to even out the colors a bit before painting, so the clay wouldn't contrast so much with the rest of the fishy tones. Then since I'll be using water-based paints, I went ahead and sealed the entire fish, because that would be bad if while painting he became juicified and woke up. Now comes the challenge of trying to make this look like this. Before I start, I'm gonna slap a coat of latex resist on the eyes, so I don't have issues getting the paint off later. Okay, I know you might be saying that it looks kind of weird, and I would agree with you, but there is a reason I'm doing this. I don't know if it's the right reason or if it will work, but the reason I've got these sort of lighter colors, if you look at the fish, this background color, that's kind of what I'm painting now. Then the theory is to go back over with the darker colors. But before I do that, I'm gonna need to put those lines and dots back in. That way when I add more layers of paint, I won't lose them completely. And a lot of people use an airbrush to do this, but I decided to use a black colored pencil instead. Next, used a super dark green as a base coat on the rear fins. Then a medium dark green on the upper half. Followed quickly by rubbing everything down with steel wool to remove all the paint on the high spots, leaving this sort of antique effect. Cool, right? Now, fish have these little branching structures on their tails called rays. So using a fine brush, we're gonna paint those back in. Same with the pectoral fin, but those don't branch. They just run more or less parallel to each other. Now we're gonna give him a light dusting with some pearlescent silver to make him shine. And don't forget the lipstick. Hell, I'm just kidding with you. And we want our fish pretty, so we're gonna give him a little blush too. There I go again. Some call me a joker. Now, partner, to finish this paint job, hit the gills with a beautiful bright red, the color of love. Lastly, let's remove that latex resist to let his beautiful eyes show through. As you know, the eyes are the windows to the soul. The next thing to do is coat it with a glossy finish and then poop it on the wood, and then we'll be done.
Hooray!
Hey guys, it's delicious. Now check this shit out. This is a reminder that you can just do things. I never thought I would ever taxidermy a fish, but I just did. So go out and try something new. You won't regret it.
Dad, Mom is not gonna want that in your room.
Dang it.